And today we have Therman Trotman, and he would be teaching us how to create a project plan with SharePoint.
You can see my screen and hear me loud and clear, so I'm good. As Ruki mentioned, what this is talking about creating a project plan with SharePoint. So the point of today is to give you a new way to think about your projects. So less technical, more, strategic. If there's anything that I do, is just leaving you today with a new way to think about your projects. Because to me, that is more important than the technology, because the way you think will inform how you use the technology. So real quick, this is my experience right here. 20 years in IT, supporting the government and private industry, and 15 years specifically supporting SharePoint solutions. And I have hundreds of satisfied customers now in other countries as well. You know what I'm saying? So ever since I started promoting my stuff online. So I've been here for a minute. And even though I'm knee deep in SharePoint, eating, sleeping, breathing it every day, it's still, I go with a people first approach. Just like today, I'm trying to get you to think differently rather than, be focused on the technology. So as I mentioned, here's my promise. You know what I'm saying? Today, I'm going to show you a new way to think. So I'm going to change the way that you manage your current project. If you got any project going on right now, I'm going to change the way that you manage your future projects. And I'm going to change the way you see your colleagues managing their projects. In other words, when you get the understanding of what I'm talking about today, you're going to see your colleagues doing things a certain way, and you're going to be like, yo, let me show you a better way. You know what I'm saying? Because I know a better way, which is pretty much what I've been doing for years. All right. So in the chat, just give me a yes or a no if you are currently working on a project. Like if you have any active projects right now, let me know, because this will definitely apply to you. Yeah, and it could be big or small. It doesn't matter. But just let me know. Okay. What's up, Rookie? Yeah, anybody else? If you're working on any projects right now, let me know. Just give me a yes in the chat or no. Now, out of these 4 bullets, I want you to tell me which makes the most sense for you when it comes to your projects. You're not good with technology, or you already have a tool that you like and you use, or you don't have the time to learn how to, use SharePoint for your projects, or SharePoint sucks. You know what I'm saying? You're just like, no, I'm good. I don't want to use SharePoint because I heard it sucks. So whichever one of those resonates with you, again, down in the chat, let me know. Just give me a 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. So I know how to steer y'all in. All right, now, so I'm going to tell you about each of those ones. So the first one where you say I'm not good with technology, if that's your thing, right, I would tell you don't have to be good at technology. SharePoint is an end user's tool now. You know what I'm saying? Like for a long time, Microsoft made it so that, you had to get access to use it. Now, instead of having to get access, you just need education. The gap between you and doing your SharePoint thing is straight education. It's no longer like permission or access that you need to be granted, which is how it used to be before. Like somebody had to come to me and be like, Therman, can you do this thing on SharePoint for me? Where now, it's just not like that anymore. The same way you open up Excel and PowerPoint and Word and just use them, that's the same thing you could do with SharePoint. Just open it up and start using it. Now, if you're saying that I already have tools that I like, I don't want to replace it with SharePoint, you don't have to do that either. You don't have to replace it. All you have to do is just add it in. And you'll know more what I'm talking about once I get into the demo portion. So if there's a tool that you already use, let's say for task management, even though you can use SharePoint for task management, I'm not saying you have to, but when you create your project plan, you're going to be using that tool. You don't want it to be all over the place and you not have access to it. You want it all under one roof. So that's what I'll be talking about. I'm going to show you that once we get to the demo. So you don't have the time. I would challenge you on this and say that you do have the time. It's just a matter of where you spend that time. So if you spend time up front taking care of what you got to take care of, then it makes it way easier in the long run. Or you cannot spend the time up front, do what you normally do right now, which is have all of your project assets all over the place, and then in the long run, waste time. So if the boss hits you up and they're like, yo, I need this thing, you got to go run it and find it. If someone wants to put in something like a change request for the project, you got to send them an email, tell them how it goes. They got to download that, fill in this Word document, which is not really a form. All of that, time wasted. That is a big waste of time. You can mitigate all of that if you up front do the things that I would suggest to you, which is make your project plan on SharePoint. All right, now, a lot of people do say SharePoint sucks, and that's cool. I completely get it, because for years, it was a terrible interface. It was always powerful, but the interface was like garbage, you know what I'm saying? Now they've updated the interface, and it's way better than it was before. But then on top of that, it gets updated regularly. Like it's in the cloud. So Microsoft is constantly pushing updates, which is perfect for the way that we work today. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to have to wait for patches and your IT team to download things and stuff like that. We're in the cloud. We get patches on a regular basis. It's just it's a way smoother sailing process. You know what I mean? All right, now let me tell you about this project plan process that I keep talking about. This is literally it. These are the 5 steps of doing this plan that I keep talking about. So number 1, you should be familiar with Microsoft Teams already. So what you would do is create a Microsoft team for your project, like you normally would. You heard that, there's a thing that y'all got to take care of. Yo, let's spin up a team so we can put all our documents and all of our communication in one place. Cool. Number 2 is you navigate to the site. The site that I'm talking about is the SharePoint site that you automatically get when you create a team. It just happens automatically. If you go into the file section of your team and then look on the menu, there'll be a link there that says open in SharePoint. You click that button and you literally open the SharePoint version of your team. So those same files and documents that you have in the file section, they're going to be there on the SharePoint site. It's literally the same thing. All right. The third step is now to update the site. So now that you're on the site, there's a bunch of things you got to do to update the site. That's what I'm going to show you today. I'm going to show you where all of that updating happens. But you want to update the site, prep everything, make sure everything is good to go before you start before you start inviting people into your site. Number 4 is update the permissions. So by default, the way that people can use and interact with your site is probably a little bit more access than you want them to have. So they can pretty much do the same thing you do. So let's say, for instance, you create a SharePoint list, which is like a spreadsheet. You create this list and you want people to just give you the information for the list. If you don't update that permission, if you don't update the permissions, people can not only give you information for the list, but they can edit your list. So if you sent it out with 8 columns that you need people to fill in, they can take away one of those columns, or they can delete or hide one of those columns if you do not update the permission. So that's an important step. Then number 5, it's time to invite everybody. Your site is ready to go. Tell everybody to come to the site and start using it. This is literally the process of your project plan that I would recommend. But you're going to spend a lot of time right here in the middle, updating the site. To create your team, to navigate to the site, update the permissions, and invite everyone, those are like one-off things. But this right here in the middle, you're going to continually do based on how your project works. So let's get into that. Now it's time for the demo. Anybody got any questions before I crack it? All right, good deal. Let's keep it going. All right, so you should be able to see my screen. If not, let me know. Here, let me zoom in just a smidge, you know what I mean? Oh, it's not even that. That's crazy. All right, right here. So this is our project plan, or it's the site that we're going to use to manage our project. That's really the way I would describe it. I wouldn't necessarily have to call it a project plan. The project plan is a bunch of moving pieces, or the what do you plan to do, like how you plan to execute your project. This is the site that would hold all that information. So your plan might include multiple things like an action log, or the budget, or the risks, or your stakeholders, or what deliverables are owed, or a change request process. All of these things would be included in your plan, but they would usually be scattered all over the place. Or maybe you might step it up and say, all right, let's put them all together inside of a folder. That's cool. You can do that. But those are individual documents, individual files that would sit inside of a folder and make it difficult for your end user to navigate and get the stuff that they do. I mean, get the stuff that they need. That makes it, it's kind of, what's the word? It's cumbersome. Like you giving extra steps to people for no reason, you know what I'm saying? And that's super annoying. So with this, we introduced the process of using a website to everybody, but it's really not introduction. The entire world, you know what I'm saying, uses websites. We know how websites work. We use them on a regular basis. So when we come to work, we don't have to abandon that process. We can still use websites at work. It's just a lot of people don't know that they could do that. So this is a website for a project called ADTD for military surveillance, right? And it's a full-blown site that you have when you create a team. When you create a team and you use that backend SharePoint site that I was talking about, you can make it look just like this. This right here is a site that was not created off of a team, but it doesn't matter because you can make your team site look exactly like this. So, okay, ADTD for military surveillance. This is the advanced drone technology development for military surveillance. This is fake, by the way, completely fake. I made this whole thing up. So this isn't like any proprietary information or whatever. So now look at your homepage. You got the big picture right here that shows the drone, whatever. You scroll down, right? Now look at this section right here. In this section, you have the project overview. You can put that blurb right there. Then right under the project overview, you have a link to the performance workstation statement. Then to the right, you have upcoming events. So we got a risk management training coming up, the final risk reviews coming up, a team building event that's coming up. That's cool. Underneath all of that, now you have the ability to submit a change request right here. You have a link to policies. You got a link to who the key stakeholders are, a project plan within the site, the risk management hub, and you have engagement strategies, right? This is all, again, pertaining to just this one project. Over here, you got announcements. So calls for ideas, recent milestone achievement, lesson learned. That's all made up. And then recent documents. So as people upload things, then they show up here in the recent document section. So this right here is just a basic site that shows all of your project assets, not sitting inside of folders, not floating around in email, none of that stuff. It's just all here with you able to access it and use it very easily. And not just you, but your team members. Everybody on the team needs to remember one place, the site. But after they get to the site, if you lay things out properly, and you really don't even have to lay them out properly, you could just lay them out however you want. I wouldn't suggest that, but you lay them out and people will still know that there's one place, one location that they go to get all of their information. It's sitting on the site. Whereas now, Teams messages, emails, getting stopped in the hallway if y'all are still working inside of the building, whatever. These are all different ways people will try to hit you up to get information from you. And, it could be a big deal or it could not. But the point is, if you have one specific location that you could point people to, that makes life easier for you and for them. Just get them to that one location, put it in their brain that any and everything that they need for this project will be sitting on the site. Just go there. So, yeah, that's the concept, again, that I want you to drive home. that if there's a project coming up or the boss says I need this, that, and the third, it's very easy to think, ooh, let me open up a spreadsheet. Instead of doing that, think, what if I use the site? Because I know there's going to be multiple things, a lot of moving pieces, all of that stuff. It's probably best to just put everything on one site, one central location for everything. All right, now. Well, first, do we have any questions? Let's see. Hold on. All right, good. No questions. All right, we rocking and rolling. All right. So, if you already understand the concept of a site, you might think all I need to know is about the document library. So Therman is talking about site. That's cool, but when I make my spreadsheets, I'm going to put them inside of a document library, and they're going to sit on the site. All right, that's not a big deal. That's not a problem. That's fine. But there's a better way than spreadsheets. So if you follow me online or anywhere else, you know what I'm saying, you know that I'm always talking about how SharePoint lists are better than spreadsheets when it comes to the way that we use them. So the way people use them is an analogy I like to use all the time is it's like using a fork to eat cereal. Can you do it? Yes, you can. It'll work out, but that's not the most efficient tool for the job. Obviously, a spoon is way better for eating cereal than a fork is. But the way people use spreadsheets is like that. They use a fork to eat cereal. So they'll take out a spreadsheet and try to collect information with a spreadsheet. They'll send the spreadsheet out and tell everybody to put their information into there. Or they'll take the spreadsheet, put it on a SharePoint site, hang it up there, and tell everybody to go there and get their information. That's a problem. It works, it gets the job done, but that's an issue because when I go to that spreadsheet and try to do a thing, let's say I hide some columns and I filter some stuff, and I'm like, all right, now the spreadsheet is where I need it to be. When somebody else comes in there after me, or at the same time, they're gonna get that same situation. It's gonna be like, yo, well, this is annoying. I need to unfilter this and unhide these columns in order to get where I need to be. That's not efficient. You know what I'm saying? Again, it will accomplish the job. You'll get the job done, just like the fork will help you eat that cereal. But get a spoon. You know what I'm saying? This right here is the spoon that you need. So instead of a spreadsheet for, let's say, your action log, imagine your folks come to the site and they view the site and they click on something that says, oh, action log. Now, when I go to the action log, I can interact with the action log while someone else interacts with the action log, while someone else on their own view, hide columns, rearrange things, whatever they want to do, and it does not affect me. The data is still sitting in the background with access, and we all have access to it, and we're not stepping on each other's toes the way we would inside of a spreadsheet. But the thing that I want you to see how this relates to a project plan is that we don't take a bunch of individual spreadsheets and upload them to somewhere and tell people to, go fetch. What we do is deliberately create a navigation right up here. You see the navigation right at the top, and name one of those items what it is that you need to access. Action log right here. There's no confusion about that. So let's say you do get stopped in the hallway, right? And this person's on the team. They know how much you already talk about the site. Everything is on the site, whatever. And they go, hey, listen, I got to put in an action item. Where do I do that? Or can you send me, usually it's, can you send me the thing that I need to do the action item? Well, whatever. Instead of that being the conversation now turns into, oh, just go on the site. It's like the first link on the site. Or just go on the site. Or just go on the site and click on action log. You'll see everything you need from there. That becomes a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, we're no longer doing this thing where, okay, wait a second, when I get back to my desk, I'll send you the spreadsheet. I got the latest version, you know what I'm saying? And you could update it and then, get it back to me. Let me make sure I review it first before I put it into the real action log, the master action log. That super old school way of thinking. But as old school as it sounds, big organizations, big legit full-time organizations do this, what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying?